So without further ado, it's Rakin with Jake. Now he disappeared, but I'm gonna try to bring him back on, and there he is. It's Rakin with Jake. I don't know what happened there, but he's back, and it's about that time, brother. What are some of the best picks we can have on the betting world?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I mean, I think the biggest one, we talked about it. I like two of them. Going back, you all already covered the Auburn minus 11.5. I thought that one was a give me. I saw it at one point at 10.5, and then I think it's kind of slowly crept up when I watched it. So that kind of tells you what the general public thinks. But my personal opinion, I mean, I looked at the last year's box score. Last year, Auburn, I think it was like 10-14. I didn't even pay attention to score much. But they lost to Auburn at home at Cal. And so one thing I did notice is that these two teams did run pretty heavily. So again, Auburn under or Auburn, I mean, you could parlay those. I looked at a ton of those, but I think those two in particular, I know that we've kind of thrown a lot out there, but I think the biggest thing would be the safe bet being the under. Again, I think the reason why you would focus on that being the case, again, 60% for 332 in last week's win for Auburn, that's not great in productivity. That just means they're getting explosive plays. And so at the end of the day, with the new metrics, the way that we have a running clock, the way that we see it going, they only threw 21 pass attempts and had 322 yards. They only threw for 60%. I know what I looked at between what Cal's trying to do. And I mean, you have a guy like Hugh Freeze coming in who wants to establish an offense. You do that with the run. And so, that's a give me. We can roll in, I guess, into the next one, which would be Duke. I love this one next, if that's possible. But Duke at plus 2.5 at Northwestern is what I last saw it at. That was, a huge one for me just because not a lot of people know. Now, verify if is that at Northwestern, guys?
I believe so.
That is I like that one.
Give me just a second. I'll have.
Yeah, you go for it because Northwestern, is that not a team that's abysmal in the Big Ten that lost to Nebraska last year, or am I mistaking that team?
Yeah, that game.
I had some notes on that.
I really like Northwestern, and I think it was Nebraska. I mean, it was like a 10-10, like super irrelevant game, really. But I think I like that pick. I think Duke, even with the new head coach, and obviously they lost their quarterback last season to Notre Dame. But I think I like that pick a lot. So not that I would ever disagree with the Jake.
Yeah, the big thing for them too is. Now, hey, look, I can be completely wrong. I think, again, and that's a great point, seeing Ball's time up there, a new coach at Auburn, picking the under. But, again, it all starts with the run. I mean, every team you can see wants to be able to get the run. I made a note on that game for their yards per play. Duke is playing winning football right now. They had 5.2 yards per play and held Elon to 30 rushing yards. It starts in the line of scrimmage. You're going to be able to orchestrate the tempo you want to play at the line of scrimmage. And so, I mean, Duke had 350 total yards, but, I mean, they didn't really have to do anything. They just kind of played ball. And so that's the big thing. Northwestern last week at what? They had 178. Does that sound right?
I have no idea. Yeah, but you did more research on it than I did, brother. I haven't even looked at that. But, yeah. Did he just cut out? Did we lose him? Did we lose Jake? With Rakin with Jake. That is up. Jake joined. All right, hold up. 1 second. There he is. He's back.
Yeah.
Got disconnected. It's all good.
What I was trying to say is I think they had 170. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. 100%.
Okay, good. I think they had about 178 passing yards, they being Northwestern. And so going back to relying on the run game, I think the biggest thing is that they've just got to move on and try to run the rock. That's going to tread down clock once they realize they're behind. So that under's huge or I'm talking about Cal a little bit, but with Northwestern again, Northwestern, they're just not great. They're not a good football team. They allowed 40 rushing yards against Miami, which is kind of scary. So that's why I like that line being close. But Duke, again, I mean, they've taken care of business and they've done what they need to do. And having 5.2 rushing yards a play is, again, winning football. That is huge. And so just going through and looking at what they've been doing continually. The next one y'all touched on a little bit too is the Kentucky -8.5. I know these are a lot of the similar ones that y'all have picked on, but I just think Kentucky at 8.5 is a give me. I don't care if I would probably take this truthfully, and I believe it's at Kentucky. And if it's at Kentucky, I would probably take up to 16.5. Just to not push. But, that would be my thought is you're looking at a team that Kentucky didn't really have to do much last week at all. And they're not running the ball super effectively. They've just got a cat who's a junior who comes out of nowhere and bangs off snap, 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 bunch of busted plays. I mean, and you still look, Old Dominion's in a different league. I mean, no knock to them, but that's not a team that should play possession to possession. And so I will take Kentucky again up to about 16.5. So, I think we have two more right now. I think the biggest one is going to South Florida at the plus 30.5. The 30.5 is just disgusting. They are not respecting what's going on at that culture down there. It's the same thing that you see when you had Heupel at UCF. I mean, you kind of just see a culture creep up on you. I really just like the fact that Bethune-Cookman, check this out. Bethune-Cookman had 37 minutes of time of possession in their game last week and still lost 48-3. And so I looked back through some of those notes. USF, I mean, they're playing winning football right now. They're averaging 11.5 yards per pass. They're rushing for, 5 yards a carry. I even highlighted it right here, guys. I mean, I don't know if it'll pick up, but that's called winning football. That is winning football. And so,
right. You're talking about it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say you're talking about a team in Alex Golish's first year there, and he was within 17 of Alabama last year. Now I understand circumstances are different, but Jalen Milroe is going to be the quarterback in this game this year. But now you just gave Alex Golish yet another year to use that transfer portal to get his guys in that program. And 4 touchdowns, that is a lofty. And you're talking 4 touchdowns and a field goal at this point. As far as a cushion that you could kind of utilize if you're USF. And I think you're onto something there. That's a game that I probably wouldn't have touched because I didn't know where the line was. USF, they're explosive. You see how Alabama handles that type of offense. It's not necessarily great. I think Alabama will score theirs, but I think you're right. I think USF will score as well. 100%.
Yep. I agree with that.
So we've got one more. Absolutely. We've got one more left, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So what's that last one?
Well, we got to save the best for last. I mean, the Vols are absolutely covering.
I'm surprised this wasn't the first one, dog.
6.5, or we at 7.5.
Oh, yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about.
It was so good to see. It's and no offense to NC State. NC State's a great program. They have 3 super, super good pieces of the offensive puzzle with their quarterback, with Concepcion and that running back's name. I actually got to watch them quite a bit. And so I'm kind of well informed on what they have. They're scary. I do think that there's some pieces there with the world of the RPO. Now what you're seeing, a lot of teams are really just wanting to ride out the tempo. I mean, we're at the point where I'm trying to show you all a little bit with time of possession, what game is now. We have a rolling clock and teams that either will outshoot you for just straight up mismatches. And that's something NC State can definitely do. But you definitely have teams that are just better on terms of the defensive front. And that's the difference maker, in my opinion. Go back and look at what Tennessee did. They have stout, complete backfield unit when it comes to the front 7. I'm not worried about a run being developed on us. Really, in terms of the pass, you've got enough leverage. I feel comfortable enough having numbers in the box and still being able to bracket a guy like Concepcion and still being able to shut down a guy like Jolly. So I think that it's a very easy way to flex into not change your identity on defense, but it's a team that defensively you match well for because you rep against it every day. NC State really is trying to do what Tennessee can do with a couple less weapons. So all in all, 6.5 to take. I would probably take that. Trying to be respectful because I don't know this team yet. We just saw them play Chattanooga, and they put on an absolute campaign for showing what excellence is. But I just tend to think that with their Yeah, you hammer the over. You hammer the over. But guys, yeah, that's my 5 picks right now, and hopefully we go 5-0. So we'll see it going on into the next week.
Yeah, and Jake, we're excited to have you on. This is going to be a weekly segment through football season. So hopefully make some folks a little bit of money. I know I'm gonna be taking these, and hopefully be making money with you on this. So.
Please bet responsibly. If you have a gambling addiction problem, please call the folks that you need to call to get that taken care of. Yeah, we're gonna try to have some fun with it. Put $2 on a game here, put $1 on a game there. If you're feeling good like I'm feeling on the Tennessee game, I might put the house on it. Look, I don't know. But no, we appreciate you, Jake. We appreciate the partnership with State Farm. They're at the Reed Bryant State Farm office, and we really do appreciate you hanging out with us. And thank you for the segment of Rakin with Jake. So that I think that's going to wrap up the show. Do we have anything in closing? I feel like we're missing out on that. Are we missing something? It's just been a long show.
I think we're good. I do, since we are doing a betting segment now, I do think we do need to put out the Tennessee red line number for the gambling. That is 1-800-889-9789. Please, as Skylar said, bet responsibly. If you don't have the money to do it, then don't do it. But absolutely, if you've got a couple dollars here and there that you want to put on something, then by all means, but don't bet what you don't have.
That's a fair point. Robert comes on here, and also it's not legal in every state. So wherever you're watching this from, please understand that he's like, look, I wish I could place these bets, but no gambling in California. That's garbage. I agree with you, man. Richard comes in and says, Tennessee by double digits, go Big Orange. Thank you, Richard. We appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, I mean, I think that's where the feel is, and that's why we were. I mean, I was kind of surprised. Look, in opening week when they only gave us a 38.5, look, that should have been 40. So I'm like, man, I feel like I'm stealing money here. I put a bet on that. I only put $4, $5 on it maybe. But then I seen the line this week, and they're only giving them, 6.5. Brother, yes. Like, I will take all the money from Vegas as I can because they're going to get it right back. Everything I win, I just goes right back into the next game. So, yeah, I mean, please understand where we are, where you're at. And gamble responsibly, but it is fun. It is fun if you do it responsibly and understand that you're not using money that maybe you have to have for that week to put food on the table. Do not do that, please. This is just for fun. But we appreciate Jake and that dude. That is going to be such a fun segment throughout the season. I'm so glad they were on board to do that. And he's very informative. And I like his picks. I'm probably going to put those picks in today because I don't want the lines moving on them. So. With that,
just one more time for those, you can screenshot this, whatever. This is his picks. Now, some of the lines have moved, but
Kentucky is at 9.5, I think.
Tennessee has moved back up to 7.5.
Vols time just put $2 on the under in the LSU game. I guess he's talking about tonight, but okay, that's fair. I'm not touching that game. There's no USC LSU, no defense, no shot. I ain't touching that game.
I've got no feel on that game, so I won't put anything on that game. I won't put anything on that game. So,
which now the Auburn game, like Auburn under 52.5. Like I was kind of like, man, week 1 will get you. Like if you're a bettor, week 1 will get you because you get all these blowout wins and you think that all offense are just that explosive, but in reality, that's not at all what it's like. So then you look at Auburn under 52.5, and you're like, no way, like they just scored 70 something. Yeah, okay, but. Now they're playing some competition. Like it's going to be a game. Who do they play? Is it Cal? And he made a great point. Jake made a great point about how much these teams like to run the ball. And with that being in mind, the clock's going to run out a lot quicker, thus less scoring opportunities, which I thought was a very good point. Tennessee minus 6.5. That's a steal. Duke plus 2.5, I think might be a steal. Kentucky, again, that is at minus 9.5 now. It moved today. And then South Florida. South Florida, I think, is the only one that I don't feel as comfortable about. But then again, I do believe in Alex Golish. And so I could see that being a 4-touchdown game.
See, that's my favorite bet on this one is the South
Florida
plus 30.5.
I love that
one.
Okay, that's fair. I'm just thinking Alabama with Jalen Milroe is not the same as what they played last year. But I agree with you. I mean, South Florida is going to score. They're going to scheme up some guys wide open. So you might be onto something there. So, but that is Rakin with Jake. Those are the picks. I'll use FanDuel. So we use the lines based off of FanDuel, but there are other sports books out there, and that's totally fine. FanDuel is not a paid endorsement. Just want to let you